Hello, welcome to another episode of my channel. Today I'm gonna make a shohin. Shohin in Japanese means a small thing and means considered just big enough to just hold in one hand. This is a larch. It's been collected from Wales. It's nice and small, so the perfect candidate to create a shohin. Shohins are normally under 10 inches or 25 centimeters, so this will be perfect fitting in that category. This tree has only been collected a couple of years ago, 2-3 years ago, and in that time the collector has been cutting some branches back, so it's reasonably twiggy for a Yamadori, and a lot of twigging on there to make something half decent out of that. We have a few options here. Option 1 is to keep everything, keep the whole top, get rid of these branches here because they're just a little bit too long. They've got some branches on here on the back, on the side, but they're just too far out. So if this branch is going to be bent down, the branches twigging are coming over here, something like that. So. And it's really hard to get backwards on these old ones there, so the tree is going to be too wide before the actual twigging is going to start. So we're not going to need that, it's too long, so we're going to maybe make a little deadwood feature out of it, a little gin. Same with these ones, these were dead already when I bought this tree, so these are going to be little gins as well. So that's then we got easy option is this as a side branch here. These ones have a bit more closer twigging in here, so this will be a lot better for the future of the tree. Even there's buds on these ones, so this branch is actually better than that one. So there's some things you have to look out for. You can even just take a thick one out of there, so it will be a better taper in the branches as well. So we only need branches going from 1 till 2, so we can lose that one, and then still got them two forking into more. And then you got some really good side branches there with some really good twigs on there to make a nice pad. So it can be a little bit bigger tree, so we can make a top out of that one. There's a back branch there we could use. Even the branch looks relatively thick. They haven't got really much wood in them. So if you can see that one down there, this one is a little bit bigger than that one. But there's a lot of bark around there. So larches have a real thick bark, so the branches can be a bit deceiving. So it looks like a big branch, but actually underneath it's just only a small young branch. So they'll be this will be easy to bend down. So yeah, other option number 2 is the same thing. We just keep this branch here as a side branch, and we lose the top here, and we can make a gin out of that, something like that. But we're gonna keep the lower branches, so we're gonna keep one here, we keep one there. We can make the top out of this one, side branch out of that one, another side branch out of this one there. Or we even could just go for the option as a little tree here and another tree over here. And then option number 3, we're gonna take the whole right hand side off. We can decide to, or even make this into a deadwood feature, or cut it off altogether if we don't want it to be too overpowering, and then just make your tree out of them 3.5 little branches. So I'm going for option number 3 because it's just it tells a little bit of a story. The deadwood on this side will tell a bit of a story about the harsh life it had in the Welsh mountains, if it had any. It's not as wild as most places as the Pyrenees or any high altitude mountains. but still, it's all about the story, about where it's been, and just, yeah, a bit of imagination as well about that. So and then we're gonna gin them branches here, and then we're gonna build the whole tree out of them 3 branches. First, we're gonna clean up the soil. We're gonna get rid of all the weeds that's been growing in here. So then we can have a look at some at the nabari, at the roots, and see where they actually go. With Yamadori it can be always difficult, because instead of having trees from a nursery or a bonsai nursery, in a bonsai nursery the trees have been properly grown and being taken out of the pot every so often, and being worked on the roots. So they normally have a better root system and a better nabari. But coming from the wild, being growing in whatever soil, maybe some rocks and stuff like that, the roots might not be perfectly spread like we want to in a bonsai. So there we just have to spend a little bit more time just training the roots as well. But larches have normally a good root system and tolerate repotting pretty well. So we should be able to mend any defects in the nabari, or if we have to fix anything, we can do that over time. So that's not a big problem, but it might set us back a few years. But if you're not in a hurry, you can make a really nice nabari out of it. So what we can see here now is one large root here. It's been cut off, being collected. So, and then we can see some small roots just going off there. Some on this side as well. I don't know if you can see that pretty well. There's another one going down there. Some mid-sized roots over here. Same here on that side. It's another mid-sized root, and then we've got another bigger one just going all the way down. And then just and there's another one going off the side there, and of course another big one going into there. So unless we come to repot this tree and to take all the oiled soil off, we don't really know how much root it's got, or how deep that big root goes. So they can go up to like here. So sometimes they're not always spreading flat. Sometimes they just also have roots just going deep. So it's all depending on where the tree's been living in the wild. So if the top is very dry, the tree can just shoot some roots way down just to look for water, for survival really. So we'll just have to wait till we come to repot this, where we stand from there. So we might not be able to put this straight into a shallow shohin pot, but maybe we can just cut the root back a little bit, and then maybe next year or in 2 years time, when we come to repot again, then we might be able to put it in a shohin pot, in a nicer pot. But up to then, it's all about growing the branches, developing the branches, and then in 2, 3, 4 years time, the tree is ready and the roots are really nice, and then it can go into a shohin pot and it looks a lot better then. Now we clean the root base. Now we can cut off the branches we don't need. Now we have cut all the branches off we don't need, we can start stripping the bark off. We do that with a bark stripper here. Now we have stripped the bark off. Now we can start altering those pieces of deadwood there. So how we're going to do that is just with the gym pliers and with some cutters, and I will just be able to just grab hold of the wood and then lever it away. But you also can do that with that, but it's just whatever you find easiest. So I want to just break it in different ways, so some of them we're gonna break downwards, and some of them we're gonna break upwards or sideways. So that way every gin is just a little bit different. So if every gin is broken in the same way, it just doesn't really look natural. It just looks a bit weird. So this side of the tree, you've got different weather conditions than maybe on this side of the tree. So that's what you really want to tell, really. So if just your deadwood is overall the same in every direction, it just looks a bit boring, a little bit plain. It's not so much variety as well. So that's what we want in your deadwood. So that makes it more interesting. So on purposely we just leave them a little bit longer. So if we're going to cut them real short to start off with, we haven't really got much to work with. So we just start a little bit small. So we're gonna take half of it off here, and then we're gonna curl it in and we're gonna tear it. So now we just can see all the fibers on the inside. And that's the kind of texture we're going for. Should actually start on the top. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna use the branch cutter. And I'm gonna make a, see like that. I'm gonna make a cut in there. So this is a real straight piece, so it's not really interesting. So we have to make sure we're gonna use the deadwood. We're gonna take away the deadwood in places, so it makes it a bit more interesting. So then we're just gonna distract your eye from the straightness, really. So if we're gonna make some textures in there, then it'll just look a little bit more interesting. And as well, we want to create some taper in there as well. So otherwise, yeah, it's not going to be interesting if it's just going to be one continuous line. So in deadwood as well, we want to have taper as well, just as you want taper in your branches, in your trunk, in your bonsai. Because the deadwood is still young and fresh, it's a lot easier to tear, especially with larches and junipers and pines and stuff, and trees like that with a lot of sap in them. They're a lot easier to tear, as in deadwood from deciduous trees with leaves on. They just normally they break. They're just a bit harder to tear. So this is a really nice tree to do this kind of work on. It takes a little bit longer than machine work, so you could just take a machine and make little grooves in there and stuff, but it's just added on, so it's not generally the right texture for the tree. So what we do now is just we're gonna tear into the wood of the tree where the actual fibers are. So if you're just gonna take a carving machine, you can just make a artificial spiral in there. It'll look so amazing, but once the wood start to weather and work, expand and do that, you start to see the original grooves, and they're just gonna go straight up because this is a straight branch, and then you just got all your carving going twisted and stuff, and then just doesn't look nice anymore. So that's why I like to stick to the natural grain of the wood. So again, we're just gonna take a little one. I'm gonna take that. It's tearing better this way. Then we're gonna tear that one that way. So you got a nice little point on there and a nice taper in there as well. You might choose to make that a little shorter. So these branches are actually a little bit too small to make a decent bit of gin out of that, but so this one was dead for a while, so that just kind of breaks a bit more. It. Later on, we're gonna give this a little, a bit of a fire with a torch, so then all of the really small ones just get singed off, and then just get rid of all the fluffy bits really. And here, this is quite a biggish one, so we're gonna split that up in a couple. 2, 4. Then that makes it easier to bend individually, tear off. There you go. So that's a real nice one there. Don't want to tear it too far into the life there, so we can just cut it off nicely. And that's a really nice texture there. See some really nice lines in there, and a nice little taper on the end. See if we can just get a bit more off the top there. That's it, some nice peeling down there. And again, we'll just cut that off there. Let's So it makes a real nice texture in there. So just the fibers went all the way in. Every tree reacts a little bit different, and every branch reacts a little bit different on bending and cracking. So you're just a bit experimenting for a while. Well, sometimes you just take a little bit more wood and try to twist it, and sometimes you take a little bit less. And it just every time it just gives a different texture, really, a different result. So sometimes, like in here, they can just break off because it's just too much. And sometimes it just tears a bit better. I'm gonna take a little bit more out of the inside here. finished with the styling and the wiring. So this is the end result. I'm pretty pleased with that. Got a nice first branch on the left here, and then the top is swirling up to there. Then we've got a small little branch there, which will replace that one in the future. This is not very nice, but I'll just leave it for the time being to be there. So until that one is strong enough, then we can take that one off. And then when the bud starts to swell in a couple of weeks time, around February, March time, and then we'll start repotting this tree into a smaller pot. So still a little bit too big for what I want eventually, but it'll be one little step towards the ultimate bonsai pot basically. So we will be getting rid of this nursery training pot, just will look a lot better. Alright, thanks for watching. Bye.